Hello everyone, this is TJ here from Mac Advisor UK. Today I'm just going to be giving you my first impressions on the new MacBook Pro with Retina display. Yes, I am here, just off camera. Just giving you some of my initial thoughts after using it for about 24 hours, what I think, just some initial observations. So first off I'm going to start with the design. So as we all know, it's a thinner design. When the lid's actually closed down, it's about the same height as the bottom part of the chassis of my old MacBook Pro. I did do a photo earlier and put it up on Facebook and Twitter showing the new iPad in comparison to the bottom part of the MacBook Pro, and I think the MacBook Pro is just a few millimeters taller, so it is relatively thin. Weight wise, it is heavy because it's mainly because of the size and because it is a 15-inch notebook. But it's not going to be as light as the Air, but it is lighter than the previous generation MacBook Pro. Now you do notice the thinness when you're typing, when you're resting your hands on the palm rest here. When you're typing, you do notice the thinness, and this edge here doesn't cut into your wrists as much as the previous generation, so that's nice. Whilst I'm on the subject of the keyboard, the keys feel different, whether it's just because it's a new keyboard, and it may, maybe because I've been using my other one for a couple of years, I've broken it in, but it just has a different feel to it when you're pressing the keys and when you're typing on it. So I like the feel that the keys give. Everything else is pretty much the same. It's standard design, similar in looks to the previous gen MacBook Pro. I would say that the black bezel around the outside is a lot thinner, not so much at the top, but certainly around the sides and at the bottom. It is just a thinner bezel and you don't get the wording MacBook Pro on it, which is a shame. I don't quite know why they've put it on the bottom because nobody's ever going to see that. But it certainly just makes the screen look bigger. I also wanted to draw some attention to the MagSafe connector. I'm not sure I like this design of the MagSafe connector. It's sort of the basic square design that they started off with initially, and then they sort of brought a right angled design to the MagSafe connector. I preferred the right angled one that I had on my previous generation MacBook Pro, because the way that the wire sticks out more on this one rather than just sort of disappearing off around the back of the MacBook. So it's just a minor niggle, but maybe they'll change that in a future design. It is, when you close it down again, it is sort of half the size of the previous generation MacBook Pro. It's sort of, the chassis on my previous generation MacBook Pro probably comes up to about there, and with the lid down, it it's sort of about the same height as the keyboard part of my previous gen MacBook Pro. The screen as well is a lot thinner when you fill the screen of the two as well. I will do a proper comparison between the two at some point, but when you fill the screens, this screen is a lot thinner as well. So it's just generally all round fantastically thin. I don't really think you will get a machine as powerful as this any thinner. The screen, the Retina display, which is the main selling point, is absolutely fantastic. Immediately as soon as I did that first boot and loaded into the OS yesterday, I could tell how good it was. And just browsing around and doing various things, all the Apple apps have all been optimised for the Retina display, and everything just looks fantastic. The one thing I would say is the internet. There's obviously been reports that the internet doesn't look as good. Obviously something like Apple's website has obviously been updated to take into account the new Retina display on the iPad and the MacBook Pro. I've read a lot of reports saying that images can be fuzzy on websites, and that they are, but not to the degree that I was expecting. And if you're used to using one of the newer iPads, then you'll know what I mean. It's just ever so slightly fuzzy and pixelated, but not to the extreme. I mean, most of the websites that you look at will sort of have text on them, and the text is rendered to the correct resolution anyway. It's just the odd, like if you go onto Amazon as an example, you'll just see that the actual pictures of the items on Amazon may be slightly pixelated, but as I said, not to an extreme. It's something that's livable. So I was looking around for some wallpapers earlier on to fit the Retina display, and just looking at all the different wallpapers that are around for that resolution. Again, they look fantastic, so I downloaded a few of those. And the screen in general is just a lot brighter and more colourful than the previous model. I think you tend to get that anyway whenever you buy a new computer and you stick it side by side with the previous model. The screen always generally tends to look more brighter and more colourful. This obviously certainly did. I mean, this looks fantastically bright and colourful. It's not even on full brightness, so I hate to think what it's going to look like if I turned it right up. It'd probably burn your eyeballs or something. But as I say, it just looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know how you could actually go back and use one of the previous generations once you've got used to this. The one thing that I would say is I used Pages earlier on, and it was rather blurry and pixelated. Apple haven't updated that, and that's probably the worst thing I've come across using the Retina display. I thought the internet would be bad, but that's pretty good, just the odd few images and things. But iWork is very pixelated, and I'm hoping they're going to issue an update for that soon, because I couldn't really work with that. Even the text and the menus and everything else on it is pixelated, so hopefully they will update that soon. Now on to some of the things. Speed, it's fast as you would expect, a lot faster than my previous MacBook Pro. I mean, I can just click on things and they open instantly. So we go into System Preferences, it just opens instantly. You just click on things and they just come straight up. I mean, I can come straight off here. We're going to change the desktop wallpaper, and it just opens straight up and goes straight into it. And just general use that I've been doing so far. I mean, you can just open Safari and it opens up, and everything just goes like lightning. I think I've noticed an improvement in the overall speed of web browsing as well. Whether that's just because the overall speed of the machine is improved and so it's rendering the pages quicker or what, I'm not sure. But I've noticed that just surfing the internet, everything just seems to be a lot quicker as well as just, you know, opening apps and running things on the machine in general. So that's a nice improvement there. Boot up and start up times are fantastic. I've not done a proper count, but it seems to start up in about 10 seconds. I'll do a proper time at some point. Shutting down was, you know, a second or two. And I will do sort of a speed test at some point soon, you know, showing it opening all the apps and various other things. But speed wise, it's been fantastic. As I say, you can just click on things and everything just sort of opens instantly. So certainly no problems with launching apps and everything. I've not done any video editing or any heavy duty stuff on here, because that's one of the points I had with my previous MacBook Pro. If I've got, say, Final Cut Pro open and I'm editing video in here, if I then try and go into Adobe Fireworks, which is what I use for some of the graphics stuff that I create, it will take a good couple of minutes for Adobe Fireworks to open over the top of Final Cut Pro. Once everything's open, it's fine and working, but it does take a while to go on. And then if I've got the two apps open side by side and I'm trying to edit video in here or export the file, obviously that slows down. And then if I try and do anything else with any other apps, it just slows it down even more. So that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted something faster, because 2 or 3 apps that I may need to run at the same time require a lot of resources to run them. But I've not done any video editing or anything because I've only had it a day. So this video will probably be the first one that I edit on here. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like, particularly for export times and all that. So generally it's been fine, not noticed any slowdown or any issues with it. I'm going to do speed tests and various other things with that as well over the coming days. A couple of other things I would point out as well. Speakers have obviously been newly designed for this, and they're pretty good as far as laptop speakers go. The previous generation MacBook Pro speakers were good anyway, you can turn them up pretty loud, but I think these, they tend to give a more fuller all-round sort of almost 3D sound, if you know what I mean, more of a surround to them. I generally, if I'm just sitting here at my desk doing things, listening to music, I'll generally have it on 4 bars for the volume, but I've kind of had to turn it down to 2 or 3 to get the same sort of volume level. I've not tried it up full volume yet, but it looks like it will go quite loud, so it certainly gives good sound, and it certainly sounds a lot better than the previous one. If you listen to the previous gen MacBook Pro, the sound does tend to be a little flat in comparison. And the other thing as well, fan noise. I've not noticed any fan noise. I've only just been doing general day-to-day stuff on here, so nothing too processor intensive anyway. But obviously I'll pick up on that when I start to edit this video and export it through Final Cut Pro. That usually kicks the fans into overdrive on my other MacBook Pro, so we'll find out on that. And I think that's pretty much it. Those are just some of my initial observations. Overall, it's a fantastic machine. I mean, I like how thin and light it is. You can see there that there's practically nothing to it. I mean, you're not going to really get anything much thinner than that for the power that it's got and everything that's sort of crammed in there and the way that it's all been designed. The screen is fantastic. I mean, that's probably the big seller. I can see a lot of people who do a lot of graphic work and people who are developing apps for things like the new iPad and things are going to want to use this to develop those, because it will display everything pixel for pixel on here. Even for things like editing video, you know, sort of a corner of this is full 1080p because this has got 3 million more pixels than a full HD TV. And just browsing, when I was just browsing around looking for wallpapers, I mean, it's a joy to look for wallpapers on here, and you can just have fun changing your desktop background constantly because the images are so clear. I mean, even just looking at the app icons down here, everything just stands out so much. They're much more colourful, and just a general overall improvement. And I'll do a comparison of the two Retina displays as well, close up, so you can see the difference. Hopefully it will show up nice on the camera. So that's pretty much it for this video, just my first impressions. Not too much to show you from this distance, but obviously we'll get in and do some speed tests and various other things. As I said in previous videos, if you want to submit some comments below the video just to let me know what sorts of videos you would like to see. I mean, I'm going to be putting, you know, various different types of videos out anyway, but if you want to suggest something, and I'll see what I can do. So that's it for this video. If you've got any comments or questions, please submit those below as usual. Don't forget to check out my social links for Facebook and Twitter, those are also below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.